Hey Canada, get ready for a federal election because NDP leader Jagmeet Singh just confirmed that his party is going to vote to bring down the government. Now, we could still avoid an early election if the Bloc Québécois. Oh yeah, we're having an election. I'm a journalist who was in Canada's parliamentary press gallery for more than 7 years. So let me explain, one, how this works, how soon you can expect to be voting, and why the NDP might have actually done this. Basically, to stay in power, a party needs the support of the majority of the House of Commons. When a confidence vote happens, it basically means that they are voting on whether they do support this government. And if the result of that is that they do not, it usually triggers an election. Because traditionally, when they lose a confidence vote, the Prime Minister and his cabinet will resign and they will go to the Governor General and ask them to dissolve Parliament. The Governor General then directs the Chief Electoral Officer to issue the writs of election. In normal human speak, that means the clock starts ticking and we're in an election campaign. And that can last from 37 to 51 days. Okay, so when can we expect Jagmeet Singh to force us to the polling booth? Well, he's gonna have to wait for the government to designate opposition days. And the House doesn't come back until the last week of January, so that's the soonest that could happen. I also think we can pretty safely bet that the NDP still won't vote in favor of a conservative confidence motion because they have explicitly said they wouldn't do that. But let's say the NDP gets the first opposition day and it's on the 29th. If the government falls that day and then the Prime Minister goes to the Governor General that day, who then issues the writ that day, we could have a new Prime Minister well before spring. And while the NDP didn't specify just how soon they want to bring forward their motion, I can confirm that they want to do it as soon as they can. Now, why are they doing this now? Because the Conservatives are heavily leading in the polls right now, so it looks like the NDP is basically trading in a slightly ideologically closer government for one that would be much more diametrically opposed to them. But we do know the last week in politics had the NDP super unimpressed with the Liberals, saying stuff like they're more concerned with fighting each other than fighting for Canadians. I would also speculate that because there's all this talk about Trudeau being about to resign, the NDP don't want to give the Liberals the chance to build momentum behind another candidate. Because I would bet that they're putting their money on the fact that that lack of momentum could benefit them. But I think we all know who the upcoming election is most likely to benefit. I also saw speculation that Singh might be trying to pressure Trudeau to resign and would do an about-face if they get a different leader in place. But Singh's letter explicitly says, quote, no matter who is leading the Liberal Party, this government's time is up. So I think that's just kind of people hoping that maybe there's still a chance we won't have an early election. Sorry to say, guys, it's almost definitely happening. The one thing I can see our politics almost being stupid enough to do that would drag this out would be if the NDP refused to vote for a conservative non-confidence motion, but the Conservatives want their motion to be the one to topple the government, so they won't vote for the NDP one. Stupider things have happened, and if you watch 30 seconds of question period, you'll understand how. Lastly, Trudeau could prorogue Parliament, which basically hits a reset button on the parliamentary agenda. So Trudeau could use this to ensure that Parliament doesn't sit until weeks or even months later than originally planned. But given all the major opposition parties have said they want to topple his government, this would be a pretty controversial move. At the end of the day, we'd still all be going to the polls in October regardless, so we'll see if this makes a big difference. But yeah, Merry Christmas everyone, and a Happy New year. What do you think of all this?